Hey, Percy, I'm here about eject. Yes, could you please bring him out for me? He's, getting worse, Doc. Indeed, I was not expecting the infection to have progressed so fast in him. Perhaps it's from his small size. I'll need to examine him closer. Oh no, it is exactly what I expected. What's going on with him, Doc? His molecular structure is becoming weakened by its increasing transparency. In other words, it's clear plastic syndrome. Ratchet, bring in patient 0. Wait, slow down a minute, Doc. What's all this clear plastic syndrome got to do with him? It's an unfortunate disease that most of the newer bots seem to be having. It's started with Mirage, I believe, due to his ability to go completely invisible. Ah, there he is now. Oh God, is that him? Indeed. Here is what Mirage looked like before. And here you can see where the disease started spreading in his legs. Please, tell me you can cure it, Doc. I'm afraid there is no real cure. We instead need to rebuild him from the ground up. It's the only hypothetical way we can completely get rid of the disease. In fact, it's time we tried it out on Mirage himself. Hey, I'm cured, Doc! And there you have it, the perfection of science. We'd better act quickly before eject turns to dust. Eject, no! Oh dear, I seem to have miscalculated again. Hello, I'm Nexus846 and welcome to a review of Studio Series 86 Perceptor. Starting out in tank mode, I legitimately feel this to be the better of the two modes. It's certainly not without its flaws. It's got the same arms and legs just blatantly sticking out as the eventual microscope has, but at least this mode tabs together and it does have tread detailing to let you know what it is. The main area that looks iffy to me is the cannon and the plate sticking out there. Hence why I keep both folded like this in order to maintain a better look for the tank. Though even if in its stock configuration, this mode still looks leagues better than the Studio Series Soundwave from the Bumblebee movie. Like, yikes, that thing's sad. And it literally is just because it has molded in treads to actually tell you what you're looking at. Like, it really was not hard to improve the Studio Series Bumblebee movie Soundwave vehicle mode. But yeah, you don't get Perceptor for the tank mode, do you? It's an incredibly simple affair to switch between the two alt modes. And, yeah, I'm not really feeling this. Now, yes, this is exactly what it's supposed to be. This is literally how Perceptor looked in this form in the cartoon. But I just don't like how you can blatantly tell where the arms are. They don't really look integrated, and the legs are also pretty obvious. That's not to say that it looks like a robot sitting down with his arms up. It's actually making a fair bit of an attempt, and for that, I appreciate it. Now, bear with me, as I don't really know what a microscope is supposed to look like, but I knew that these two knob things on which go onto the arms in robot mode should be in line with how the microscope thing itself angles. And there's also no light underneath the dish thing in order to, illuminate what you're looking at. There's also this massive gaping hole where the head goes into, and if you don't rotate the head around, and yeah, he's just gonna be staring right on out. Unlike tank mode, the legs don't tab in, which means they're freely able to rotate around on all the little joints they've got. So yeah, this is really why I think this is the worst of the two modes. But for me, it redeems itself as a set piece. A Voyager class or NP wheeljack would easily be able to look down the scope to examine all sorts of things on that little tray of his. And size-wise, it's also pretty big. Here he is with RID Bumblebee. Siege Ironhide.
Monkey Prime.
And Kingdom Blaster. And while I'm not really sure how big a microscope is in this mode, I do feel like it's a fairly big object, and comparing these to each other, yeah, this looks appropriate. Transformation is simple enough that I feel alright explaining it to you. Start by folding up the microscope on its ratcheted hinge. Okay. Fold up the glass plate in order to get it into place for the chest. Swing out the leg on the hinge that's above the knee. Then bring the leg forward on its hip joint. Then bring up the feet, and yeah, that's all the transforming the legs do. It's straightening out and pointing the toes forward. Not very creative. Untab the arms and bring them down. Untab the microscope and bring it over on its double hinge. And fold down that other thing that flips out just to keep the thing steady. Then bring up the shoulders. And you can flip out the hands if you want. I mean, they're only hands. And finally bring out the head, and yeah, not all that complex of a transformation. And this robot mode is pretty good looking. But what else do you expect from alt modes that don't look like alt modes? Like, they look like folded up robot, barely folded up robot. So, this isn't impressive. Having a good robot mode is already expected and typically done with good alt modes. So the crowd of people who say, oh, only the robot mode matters, the robot modes are usually good. Why are you saying that you can't be disappointed with an alt mode when the robot modes are almost always good? Something I do like is how the cannon has a completely extra hinge, just for getting the thing to fold down on his back and out of the way of his line of sight. Hell, for this, you even have options. Perceptor also comes with a gun, and I don't know. I don't feel like Perceptor is the kind of character who's a soldier. And, you know, not every Transformer has to be a soldier. I view Perceptor as a lot more of a practical bot. He's a scientist. He studies chemical compositions of things. He can't just be that. Nonetheless, this is a pretty dope-looking pistol. I like how the mag sticks out at an angle. Perceptor also has his giant shoulder-mounted cannon, and I don't really view it as a cannon. I think it's, you know, just a piece of kibble from his alt mode, because, you know, that's what it is. By the way, you can actually look through this thing. There's no magnification or adjustments or anything. In fact, you can barely tell what he is looking at through it, but, you know, you can look through it. That's actually more than a lot of other Perceptors. For size comparison, here he is with Blaster, and there's a monkey part of my brain that is screaming at me that these two go together. Speaking of monkey, here is Siege Ironhide, an old deluxe, a modern deluxe, and his fellow scientist Wheeljack, and okay, wow, this figure's big. I guess that's where your money's going. Overall, I think this figure's just fine. Yeah, it's another figure that's really only selling point is that it's a big for its size class deal. But here there's at least one tolerable mode, unlike the Soundwave. And that being considered, I feel like this is actually a pretty good deal. And now, up for the second to next review, it's Space Lancia Stratos versus Toon F1. Vote in the comments who you think should be the second to next review.
Greetings, my name is Optimus Prime. I bring you this message to say that I hope you enjoyed this video by Nexus 8846 Productions. If you did, Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and to subscribe with notifications on to let us know you did, and to keep up to date on future awesome content. And until next time, my fellow Autobots, transform and roll out!